If you follow me on social media, mainly Instagram, I kind of posted my whole trip throughout my stories. You got to see a little bit of what went down, but I want to give kind of the full story, full context, set the scene for what exactly took place and how this weekend actually came to be. And honestly, a lot of funny stuff happened, and I really just want to talk about it with someone. So, Vegas, me and my wife decided to celebrate our 10 years of marriage, and what better place to do that in the city of Las Vegas? We decided to renew our vows there, and we set up this whole weekend that we can kind of dedicate, adults only, invite our friends, they can come out. The last time we got married, or the first time we originally got married, that was such a quick elope type style thing. We kind of did it last minute, kind of told the family, hey, if you can be there, great. If not, we just want to, we really need to get married right now. I can fill in that story at a later time. But anyways, this was like our second chance to kind of invite people out, enjoy the ceremony with us, watch us renew our vows, and kind of just be there, enjoy the weekend, and have a fun adult Vegas weekend. We set the date, Valentine's. What better weekend to celebrate love as a couple than on Valentine's weekend? Plus, it was a 3-day weekend. Perfect. So we start the weekend, get a rental car, drive that thing 6 hours from San Diego all the way to Las Vegas. Everything went smooth. We had our alien jerky pit stop, got our food, delicious. Finally get in Vegas. We ride into town. We pick up one of our friends. So the three of us were all riding down to Vegas, having a good time, having our snacks, just enjoying good conversation. Everything went smooth up until this point until it didn't. So we pick up the rental, San Diego airport. The plan was to drop off the rental in the Las Vegas airport. And after a 6+ hour drive, all the traffic that you can imagine on the way up there, everybody and their mom felt like they needed to go to Vegas on this weekend. Me and the wife drop off the car, hop in the Uber, drive over to Resorts World, which, by the way, while I tell the story, you can check out the beautiful, you can check out Resorts World while I finish the story. So we get to our room. It looks just like that. Beautiful room, by the way. Bathrooms, nice. Waterfall shower, separate toilet area from the shower. Honestly, it was really nice. It's about a 3 to 4 year old casino hotel, opposite end of the strip. We usually like staying at the MGM Grand. This time around, we wanted to spend a little bit more time on this side of the trip, on this side of the strip, on a nicer hotel. Nothing bad to say about the hotel, the casino resort. Oh, when it was time for us to check into our rooms after catching the Uber, after driving for 6 hours, catching the Uber, getting through traffic, finally getting to the front desk, wife opens up the backpack, looks for her ID, because obviously you need that to check in. And lo and behold, what does she find? Nothing, because wife drops her wallet in the rental. That's exactly my thoughts as soon as we figured out what was going on. So she's panicking, looking through her backpack, dumping everything out while we're in this long line to check in. We're just like, it has to be in here somewhere. There's no way. Sure as shit, wasn't in there. I end up having to use my information. Thank God, no issues there. Same last name, no problem. We get up to the room. She's freaking out like, oh my God, where'd it go? We don't know. Because at this time, we did not know it was in the rental. I started asking her, hey, when we checked out Alien Jerky, did you happen to have your wallet in there? Oh shit, I don't remember. I ended up paying at the register, so she doesn't remember busting out the wallet. And I'm just like, fuck, did you even bring your wallet at all on the trip? And she's like, I don't know. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. And I was like, fuck it. You know what we got to do? We got to call the rental place. So we look up the number online. We try to get a hold of support or customer service. And of course, nobody answers. Straight to robot answering machines. Press 0 if you want to talk to someone. Obviously, it just goes in circles. You don't get a hold of anybody. So I'm just like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's just go back to the rental place and just tell them we need to check the car. She's just like, oh, well, fuck, who knows if the car's still there? Are we going to be able to locate it? And I was like, it doesn't matter. It does us no good to sit here in Vegas, you without an ID, we're trying to get drunk all weekend, and you're possibly, turns out obviously they never check ID, but who's to say that one time that we actually needed, they actually check her ID? So we didn't want to risk it. Clearly, it was going to ruin her night. Her stressing out was going to ruin my night. So just to button things up, we had to go. So we went back to the car rental place, took an Uber back over there, another $30 from there to the casino. And then we had to take one back, another $30. Not starting off this trip too hot. Doesn't matter. We're going to find this wallet, get dropped off there. We run back over to where we dropped it off. We tell the attendant, hey, can you please look and see if we have this, if you guys have this rental still here? We dropped off this car, this color. We were here at this time. Can you please see if you can find it? So while she was waiting for them to find the car, I ran off, used the restroom. Since we got off the road trip, I was just kind of holding it. And then with the stress of the lost idea, I never, as soon as I come out, she's right in front of the restroom, happy as can be. Thank God we found the wallet. We take another Uber back over to our casino hotel. We're ready to start our night. So one of the highlights that I wanted to have on this trip was going to a speakeasy, one of these hidden hotel, one of these hidden bars, if you will. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with a speakeasy. Maybe there's one in your hometown. But if you didn't know, Vegas has a ton of them. There's so many, and I had a whole laundry list. I had been watching YouTube videos on where they were, and it just so happened to be at Resorts World that there was a speakeasy, really popular one that we were going to be able to visit. So I was just like, hell yeah, let's go check out their food court, and boom, let's hit up this freaking speakeasy and party it up, which is what we did. Let me pull up this video for you guys so you guys can check it out. So inside Resorts World, they have this pretty decent sized food court, nice variety of food. But one thing that they have in there that you are looking at is this, it looks what appears to be a convenience store on the outside, outside of these tables that are just kind of randomly placed in the front of this convenience store. Because there's a register kind of off camera to the left and shelving of these cats. What appears to be a convenience store on the outside is actually a facade for something way cooler. So this is a speakeasy called Here Kitty Kitty in Resorts World. And let me play this video so you can kind of get the gist of how this looks. So you approach the front desk, let them know, hey, how long, how many, this was going to be for a party of 4. They originally quoted me an hour and a half. So I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, I mean, we're here. Let's, gamble. We can, gamble for an hour and a half until, our reservation's ready. No worries. And they actually called us back in like 30 minutes. So I don't know if it's just like a default, like, hey, hour and a half. Because that's kind of how long people might take with, the attraction of going in there, getting your drink and trying out different stuff. But it was actually pretty like smooth for us. Oh, here we go. So even the front, like it's super, indistinguishable. Like you wouldn't know. I don't even know what the hell these words mean. But it looks like just extra seating inside a convenience store. Oh, okay. You get to see the front, a little bit of the front desk. This is the food court. It was a really nice food court. This was a pretty cool bar. This is one of those locations where you can grab the cup and like self-dispense the beer, and they'll charge you based on like the amount of beer you dispense. Pretty decent variety of beers that they had there, from just, a variety of IPAs, lagers, variety of IPAs and lagers. It was pretty sweet. A lot better than just your standard beer selection. More nice cuisine, Asian food, Mexican food. Decent stuff there. Honestly, it looks a lot better than what it was, but still pretty cool. Okay, yep. So that's the shelving, front door that takes you inside the bar. And this is pretty much the exact same layout that when we went to go visit, where this group is sitting right here in the front, where the guy has his legs crossed. This is exactly where we were sitting. And honestly, the amount of people in this bar right now, or that are in there right now in this video, is about what we experienced when we went as well. And this was like around like 9 o'clock at night, maybe. So there really wasn't that many people there, which is pretty sweet. Vibes are cool. They actually had a DJ going while we were in there, and the drink menu was pretty sweet. Like it was drink menu was pretty good. They had a pretty good selection of drinks, spirits, beers, all kinds of stuff you can make in there. That was pretty cool, fancy, for the gram and all that, but really nice. Drinks were a little pricey, as you can see in the subtitles right there, from 20, I say from 20 to 30 bucks. I think this video might be a little old, but part of what was really cool was you still got these cool little sphere ice cubes in there, ice spheres. And yeah, that was pretty cool. It kind of made my old fashioned, pretty cool looking. I did enjoy that for sure. Nice little fancy cocktails. The restrooms, very cool with the neon lights. It definitely enjoyed that right around the corner from the speakeasy. Overall, good vibe. It was a good way for us to kind of start that trip on a high after that scare of potentially losing that wallet. And we spent quite a few hours in there. We probably stayed in there till about 12, 11. Yeah, 12, maybe a little past 12. No, how late did we stay in there? Nah, probably stayed in there past 12, because I remember getting to the room around 2 a.m. And one thing I forgot to mention, the Resorts World, shout out to them. They set off our trip really nicely in the hotel room. They had the bottle of the champagne iced, they couple glasses. They had the chocolate covered strawberries. Our room was right in front of the window where the building has the display of like the advertisements and all that. It was a pretty sweet room. They definitely hooked us up with a good view and the complimentary champagne and the chocolate covered strawberries. Definitely appreciated that a lot. But one thing that kind of set the tone for the rest of the trip was my wife, a little bit of a lightweight. She took that bottle of champagne and she kind of drug it with her that whole evening leading up until Here Kitty Kitty. And she pretty much downed that whole bottle of champagne by herself. Not a whole lot of food that was eaten prior to that, but between the bottle of champagne, the strong spirit cocktails that we got over at Here Kitty Kitty, she got pretty toasty that night, and she was definitely on one of those trips where she was up all night, back and forth from the restroom, throwing up. Like I said, she's a lightweight, which led us to the following morning, the hangover morning, which was great. She, felt like shit the entire morning that we were supposed to be getting our vows renewed. And we originally were supposed to go to what's that popular breakfast spot? The Pepper Mill, which was right across the street from the hotel we were staying at, which was part of the reason why we even stayed there in the first place. We had to skip this time around, and I had to opt for something light for her. I tried to go look for a smoothie, acai bowl in the morning, maybe an iced coffee, which I found, which even that turned out to be a little bit weird of a thing because the ladies that were working it hardly spoke any English. And it was hard to communicate exactly what I was trying to order. But at the same time, like, you would think the etiquette when you're kind of like swamped at a little food court kiosk is to, one person takes the orders, the other person starts making the food, and then in between the other person hops in, but you continuously, take orders. What these ladies decided to do was they didn't want to take anybody's orders until they completed all the orders that were already pending. So there was a pretty long line. People kind of left in and out, like just because they got tired of waiting and it was early in the morning. People were hungry. So I kind of waited there for a pretty decent amount of time before I was able to get my food, take it up to the room. And then, of course, like, you know, the acai bowl that I picked for her was green. I've never seen a green acai bowl. I had no problem eating it. I thought it tasted fine, but wife being a texture person where, you know, the color of something, the texture of something, the smell of something could like totally just turn her off to it. She didn't appreciate the green, so she ate a little bit of it. I crushed mine. I was starving from the morning, missing the good peppermill breakfast, and just kind of hung out with her in the room for the first half of the day. Just kind of kicked it, watched TV. I'm pretty much sitting here like, damn, this is supposed to be our crazy Vegas weekend, and it's turning into this like, oh my God. Now it's just kind of like one thing after another, after another. This leads us to this being on Valentine's Day, Valentine's morning. I had a buddy fly in to join me on my behalf, on my half of the party for the wedding party. And the plan was wife to go with her friends who were over at the Sahara, get dressed in her wedding, in her little nice vow renewal outfit. I would get dressed in my tuxedo with my buddy over at our resort at Resorts World. We would take our Uber and meet each other down there at the chapel of the Bells. That's what it was called. And man, Chapel of the Bells, what an interesting place. First off, I had no idea what to expect going into Chapel of the Bells. Okay, so this brings us to the vow renewal over at Chapel of the Bells. And let me tell you, if you've never been to Chapel of the Bells, this photo right here encapsulates everything that still looks like Chapel of the Bells. They still have all these decorations, these drapes, these vines that are draped all around this little stage. Very small, quaint little chapel. But anywho, we get there. I had no idea what to expect. So I show up in a tuxedo. Obviously, I want to look nice, look good. Formal. I don't dress formal anymore. So I was a little excited to finally get to, you know, dress up a little something, you know, kind of look a little nice. And as me and my buddy and his wife walk into the chapel, we get there first before my wife. We walk in, it's a small little place. It's attached to like this motel looking thing, you know. I'm like, oh shit, okay, what the heck? So we walk in. I notice we get in there, it's small, nobody's in the lobby. We sit down, you know, just kind of wait to check in, let them know that we're here, ready for our time. And the couple in front of us, boom, double doors open, and they walk out, just them two, right? This is a place where a lot of people are just doing a lot of elopements and stuff like that. And it's a guy in a blazer wearing a t-shirt tucked in to his brown cargo pants. Brown cargo pants. Oh, and flip-flops. So I'm sitting here in the lobby, suited and booted, tuxedo, slacks, dress shirt, bow tie, nice shoes, blazer at least. And I instantly, I don't know how a man dressed like that can make a man dressed in a tuxedo feel so out of place. I felt like I was the ridiculous one. I'm over here thinking that this is a place where I needed to dress nicely. All the while, I have this older gentleman over here who's clearly done way too much cocaine in his life. His nose was sunken in. He just looked like he was Vegas personified, like been there from the heyday, Fremont Street up and down that place. And I'm over here like fresh to death, suited and booted as if I just freaking, you know, like 24 magic, 24 karat, like, man, like there, I had no business dressing that nice in this place, long story short. But you know what? The best part about this trip was me and my buddies and my wife's friends. We had an awesome time doing this, and a lot of it was the company. We had a lot of good laughs. We I just could not help but roast every single person that I saw come in and out of that place, from the cokehead with the sunken nose looking like Gonzo from the Muppets in those cargo pants, flip flops, to the cholo in the Pendleton button up Ben Davis pants with the boots, and his chola wife with their hair draped down in front of her looking like the Ring, who went right after us. There was so many. The Chapel of the Bells is ran by this family, older family, and they clearly are this weird dysfunctional, like, to kind of paint a picture, the sign when you walk in that says no food or drinks allowed. We're sitting there in the lobby making sure we don't have anything, we're not allowed to have in there. We have one of the workers instantly run in there with his drink, yells at the grandpa. I think they called him Reverend, but I'm pretty sure they're all related. But he was just like, Reverend, your Dr. Pepper's ready. And we're just kind of all looking at each other like, oh shit, they're yelling at each other in here, like as if like there's nothing really separating us but this little partition and a display that's kind of shit. Like there's nothing to protect us from like not hearing any of that stuff, which is kind of funny. So then the Reverend comes down, old guy, in his 80s. He could barely, like, he's kind of shuffling his feet around the place, whatever. And we're just kind of like trying not to look. We're looking down at our feet, like we're kind of just starting small talk with each other because it got really awkward with them yelling at each other in there. And we finally get brought in to do our ceremony thing, and we had to exchange our rings for this. I'm supposed to give my ring to her maid of honor. My wife gave her ring to my buddy Eddie for being the best man. And they're, during the ceremony we do the exchange, yada yada. Or we hand them off back to one another. And Eddie decided that it would be a good idea. He's a stout gentleman, a lot like myself. And he decides to hold on to the ring by putting it on. He's wearing my wife's wedding band now. And we're there almost exactly where this couple is standing, actually. Maybe facing the other way, because it seems like that's where the Reverend actually stands and reads us the vow stuff. And when it came time to get the ring, like, okay, like, give me the ring for me to put on my wife. I have Eddie over here looking at everybody like, I can't take it off. So we're sitting there and we're just like, Eddie, the ring. We need the ring. And he's just like, it's stuck. He's looking at everybody. I can't take it off. And we're just like, oh my God, this is great. This is perfect. I look over at his wife and I was just like, that's your husband right there. Like, I hope you're proud. And we just all start laughing. And one thing I forgot to note was the amount of times these gentlemen had to verify my name, and not me and my wife's name, not me and anyone else's name, but me. And they were speaking very, very loud, very open, and very like, hey, it was a lot in the tone of like, hey, Reverend, when you go in there, can you just make sure you double check the groom's name? And he was like, what? Yes, the groom's name. Make sure you double check his name. And the doors are wide open. We could hear him. They're sitting right outside at their desk, like going over this thing. And he looks over at me and he asked me, "How you doing? What was your name again?" I was like, "Oh, it's Mikhail." And he was just like, "Oh, okay." And then next thing you know, we a little bit more time goes by. He's getting set up. And he was just like, and what was exactly your name again? I'm just like, it's Mikhail. And as he's kind of shuffling his papers, kind of getting himself all situated, I look back at everybody and I just tell them like, hey, no matter what goes on here today, do not let them take me. If they're about to call ICE right now to try to take me, I I am a citizen. I have my identification. I did nothing wrong. And we just kind of all start laughing like, oh shit, this is super funny, shady, a little disrespectful, but whatever. These guys are funny, you know? And I just start laughing about it. And anyways, we get on with the ceremony. Eddie's struggling to give me the ring. Finally get it off. Me and my wife, we exchange the vows, and the next awkward part is the part where it was time to take photos. And this photo, this is great because this happens. This must be the same routine of photos that they've done from whenever this photo was taken, whether this is in the 90s or 80s, 90s, somewhere in that ballpark. They had me do this exact same pose along with the most awkward of awkward poses. I didn't even know how to look at my wife at some poses because, and in some instances, because they would just be like, look at her, tilt your head, smile, hold it, smile. And I'm just kind of like, I don't even know, like, what am I doing now at this point? Like, what do I do with my hands? And there was even one point where I was smiling and I was just like, why am I smiling like this? Like, this is crazy. I never smile like this. And everyone just, was cracking up at me. Even the photographer, who clearly wasn't related to this dysfunctional family, she got to at least enjoy a lot of this like lighthearted laughing that we all had as a little bridal party or whatever it's called. I'd say as much fun as we had, all that came to a stop as soon as they brought us the bill. And I look over at my wife, and mind you, she set this thing up. She chose the place. She decided this was going to be a good idea, right? We did it. I went along with it, yada, yada. And the bill that they stuck us with all the add-ons for this rink-a-dink Motel 6 front desk chapel of a place, $600, almost $700 that we spent on this ceremony. So me dragging out this story is purely my way of coping with the fact I need to document this, of coping with this $600 price tag that was attached to this really bad, gross looking like chapel. They even give you the video. They take video of it, old school camcorder thing and they give it to you on a CD-ROM. I don't even own anything that can play a CD anymore, but they give you this whole ceremony on a CD-ROM, and you're just kind of like, oh my God. And then they hand you the envelope where you're supposed to tip the reverend, and it's stamped on it like, hey, recommended tip amount $40. And I was just like, bro, like this whole thing is a fucking joke. Like, the fact that, I mean, we got hustled. Clearly, we are the only dumbasses that paid that much, because I look over at all the other people that are in this vicinity. Like I said, how I described the person that was ahead of us that was dressed. There is no way in hell these guys paid for that package the way that we had to pay for it. There's no way in hell they did that. So high price to pay for the awesome memories, I suppose. But man, like, that was like kind of like, holy shit, I need a drink now. Get me the fuck out of here. I need to get out of this clothes, or I need to go out, drink something. So let's just take this party on down. We decided to book a restaurant called Vanderpump over at Paris. So we head straight on over there right after Chapel of the Bells. Shout out Chapel of the Bells. Fucking $600 later. Me and my wife, we booked Vanderpump. We are fans of the show. So we wanted to go eat at the restaurant, wanted to have a couple drinks at the restaurant. While we were there, we got there maybe like an hour or two early. So we were all hungry, rode the train all the way down there. And we decided to hit Flavortown. Flavortown was a vibe, like where I'm still in my tux, everybody's still in their dresses, looking nice, and we're over here eating, trash can nachos. Like, it doesn't get any better, you know what I mean? So So we're there sitting down eating. We're all getting to know each other a little bit more. I'm kind of getting to know a little bit of my wife's friends a little bit more. They are getting to know a little bit of my friends a little bit more, my friend and his wife. And honestly, it was dope. Like the best part about that, like I love when we kind of get into, when you get into really good deep conversations with people, especially if you don't know them too well. And one thing that, I'll speak about on a later date was the fact that I will be meeting my father's side of the family who I have never met in these upcoming weeks. Almost less than 2 weeks now for the first time. And this whole thing has been a really big side story of mine. And so they asked me about it during dinner, and it's turned into this whole like, man, like how many of us grew up without, a father being around kind of thing, to having children outside of your marriage, and people are finding out about them now in today's age. Like it's a lot more common than you think. I know for me, that was like normal for me, but to hear all these other people sharing the same stories, super dope. I will be, part of wanting to do this podcast stuff is having a platform like this to share these kind of stories and document them and be able to talk to other people about their stories. And I can't wait to do that. So then it was time for our reservation over at Paris Vanderpump. Here, Paris Vanderpump, the great Lisa Vanderpump. This is one of her restaurant chains. She's popular from being a housewife, one of the original housewives, that show, yada, yada, whatever. Booked the restaurant. It was awesome. It was a great time. More bomb cocktails. And we actually got to be served by a cast person who's actually on the show. There he is right there, actually. Boom. That is Oliver, and I don't remember his mom's name, but Oliver comes out in the show, has a small side story, and his mom is popular or famously known, at least for me and my generation or whatever, for being on the Jamie Foxx show as the love interest for Jamie Foxx. Don't remember that name either, but for those of you who know, that's her son. And he was actually our server, and super super cool guy. He was very like, he brings us he approaches the table, introduces himself. I'm like, hey, wait, you're from the show. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys watch the show, nice to meet you. And he sees us, we're all tuxedoed out, I'm all tuxedoed out, and my wife's in the white dress, and everyone's all dressed fancy. He's, oh, what's the special occasion, yada yada. He brings us out like free shots, and they're super nice, super super bomb, really really easy to drink. And yeah, overall great vibe. Thank you, Oliver, for being super cool, being someone who's part of the show. It was super dope. Like you wouldn't think, at least I didn't think that, seeing how it's been a minute probably since that season of when he was relevant, like on the show. So for him to see him still there working, pretty cool. Like he must be making some pretty good dough. Like to stay there for this amount of time, like I'm sure he's chilling, just enjoying the Vegas scene and being Oliver from Vanderpump. Pretty cool. And yeah, man, that was, our Vegas trip was a short one, Friday through Sunday, and this was already like going late into our Saturday night. We really didn't have a whole lot of time left at this point. And we're in our later 30s. Bedtime's right around the corner once you hit midnight, and that's pretty much where we were at once we left Vanderpump. So me and the wife went back to the room, went to bed, and wanted to get ready for Fremont tomorrow, or the following morning. So that's pretty much what we did. We enjoyed the Vanderpump, had our trash can nachos prior to that, and then got married at Chapel of the Bells. Fucking shout out for stealing. Shout out for fucking taking $600 for that bullshit. But good memories. Yeah, I think last thing to mention is just how expensive our following day was over at Fremont Street. You know, if you haven't been to Fremont Street, this is usually the area of Vegas that's like more affordable. The casinos aren't so upscale, and the crowd is I mean, everything's just older there, you know, like the casinos are older, the restaurants are older, so like usually the drinks are cheaper, the food is cheaper. They need to lure people away from the strip to come to this old Vegas, Fremont, so the typically, you know, things are cheaper. That's how they get people to go over there. But not anymore. I don't know what happened. You know, I paid for 2 beers out of this. Somewhere in here there was this bar. I don't recommend it. Maybe I just went to the sucker spot and like paid for a beer right here in the middle of this alley. But 2 michelada beers, like, so this bar similar to this, $42, $44 for 2 michis. They were tall, but still like 44 for 2 beers. I was just like, man, you can't catch a break out here. Everything in Vegas. If you guys go to Vegas, highly suggest, depending on what your budget is, buy, if you're driving down, buy everything on the way up, take it up there with you to the hotel room. Most likely you will have at least a refrigerator. No microwave. That's not really a thing in Vegas. Bring all your alcohol to your room. Bring a bottle. You could even walk with a bottle on the strip. They really, it's, you know, pretty liberal the way that they are out there. You know, not a whole lot of rules when it comes to that. And then I guess the number one tip is just to bring your alcohol, because that's where they're gonna bend you over, is the alcohol sales. Like, it's insane the amount of dollars that they're charging for alcohol now in Vegas. Like, you're definitely gonna spend an arm and a leg if you're gonna go to Vegas just on the alcohol alone. But yeah, man, I'd say, you know, overall it was a good trip. I can't wait to go back. I've been wanting to book another trip, you know, immediately. You know, I don't know if the next time I'll have a chance to go out there, I'll be able to go without the kids. But, you know, regardless, I have a good time, whether it's with the kids and or not. You know, me and the wife have a great time, and if it's with the kids, we also have a good time. We just kind of have to throw in a couple more arcade visits and the pool. So can't wait for our next trip. Hopefully I can figure out a spot on the calendar where it's a down season, so it's not as expensive. Valentine's weekend is a very expensive weekend. I do not recommend going unless it's for a special occasion like Chapel of the Bells. But, you know, I should have just had my buddy just become ordained or something, or whatever that's called, and just marry us, you know, like do something local at the beach, or I don't know. We should have, there were way better ways to spend our money than that. But like I said, good time. I honestly wish I recorded it because it was really funny. I don't know if my story is going to do it justice with just how much laughing we did while we were at Chapel of the Bells or that whole night, but I could honestly say I had a really good time. And it seemed like the rest of the guys that, you know, were there with us enjoyed themselves as well.